So this Baldur's Gate 3 developer is getting a lot of flack for criticizing Ubisoft. And you may wonder who is upset because Ubisoft doesn't have any fans. They got like 2 people playing. Like why are gamers upset about this developer just giving the most mild criticism? And the reason for it is that gamers aren't upset, but you do have a lot of activists who have a different way of thinking. Like they're hardwired differently than the rest of us. You see, for them, games, they're not entertainment. They're not something that a person should play after coming home from a tired day at work in order to relax. No, for them, games are literally politics. Like they view gaming as a vehicle to push their political ideology onto the masses. Because, like, you look at the Democrat conventions, it's like the Sahara Desert. There's no one there. You look at the Kamala Harris's rally, there's no one there. So, how are they expecting to get the message out to people? And the answer is through TV shows, through comic books, through video games. So, when they look at a video game, they're basically looking at it as a Christian looks at the Gospel of Mark. Like that is the thing that tells the masses the message. And it has to be successful. It has to be played so that the masses understand the message. So they look at Ubisoft, they look at these AAA gaming companies as if they're the church. And this is like the new sermon, right? Like Star Wars Outlaws is the new sermon that teaches you about the glorious pronouns and the body type A and the body type B and how you should think about women and how capitalism is evil, right? Like, this is how they view it. So any type of criticism is viewed as harming their ideology, is viewed as harming their politics. It's like spitting on the gospel. Even if the criticism comes from someone else that is woke, they already published their gospel. Like, they already sent their message. Stop interfering with other people. So this is why they're so upset, right? Now, in this particular case, the criticism is kind of accurate. Basically, he says that he doesn't love the artificially inflation of pricing structure past retail. Use the inflated base price to upsell a subscription and use vague content which promises to inflate the ultimate edition. So, what a lot of quadruple A studios are doing in the West, and you can notice that this tactic isn't done by Asian studios or other independent studios, is to make it so that the Ultimate Edition costs 130 euros. And this Ultimate Edition usually allows you to play 3 days early. It gives you some of the expansions and stuff that, you know, is probably not worth the value. Because at the end of the day, you're paying double. And the reason for it is that if you scroll all the way down, you get to see that you can subscribe to a live service, whether it's Ubisoft live service or whether it's Xbox Live or whatever, and you only have to pay, usually it's like 15 or 19 euros per month, right? So instead of paying like 129 euros, you just pay 9 euros per month and that's it. So like the idea is that games have never been cheaper. But obviously the problem with doing so is that you have no guarantee that the price will stay the same. Like you're buying one of these games, and in the case of Star Wars Outlaws, it doesn't apply, but there's other games that have a multiplayer component. Maybe you're farming levels, you're farming gear, you have your saves there. So if you fail to make the monthly payment, you lose all of it until you pay again, which a lot of people are not very comfortable with. And of course, you don't own the game. Like if you violate their TOS, if you say something naughty, you can get banned and you can lose access to all of your games. And on top of that, it also allows these companies to make shitty games. Like it's really great that gamers aren't falling for this scam because they can always say, well, yeah, I mean, Star Wars Outlaws didn't sell very well. Like not a lot of people bought it. It's because they buy the Ubisoft monthly subscription. That's why. So the Ubisoft monthly subscription is really great. And they can tell that to the investors. They can tell that to governments that are giving grants for games. And they can say, well, yeah, it's kind of hard to measure our products because a lot of people just buy the subscription, right? So this is what this person is saying that, yeah, like this system is not something that's good for the customer. It's not something that's good for the business. And he would like to see developers doing less of that. Now, what's interesting is that he doubles down and says that almost all games should cost more at a base level because the cost of making them, such as inflation, is outpacing other trends. See, this is what I vehemently disagree. I do think that since you have inflation, people also have less money to throw. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about entertainment. Like, this is not food. This is not electricity. This is not a necessity. So you're basically looking at people that have money to spare. And what should happen is that game developers should stop spending so much cash to make these games. I mean, look at the sequel for Spider-Man. I mean, that game costed hundreds of millions of dollars to make, and when you compare it with the first Spider-Man, you do not see that difference transcribed into the actual game. It doesn't feel like the sequel is that more amazing, is that more mind-blowing in order to justify hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent in order to make it. It's still over-the-shoulder action-packed shit like the first game, right? So what instead developers should focus is to try and make games that do not require jaw-dropping graphics, but they do have innovative gameplay. They are beautiful to look at, like BioShock, for instance. Stellar Blade found the niche. I mean, the Stellar Blade is a great game. It doesn't cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make, and most people bought it because of us. I mean, you're looking at phone games, for the love of God. Phone games. I can't believe that I live in a world where I'm even discussing about these types of games, right? Like here you have the developer saying, well, actually, you know, I was talking about games that cost $70 to $80 and function properly. It's like, yeah, so I can either pay like $80 for a quadruple A game that's an eyesore and has women that look like men, body type A, body type B, like all of the safe, edgy, anti-capitalist memes that come with it. Or you can just play a phone game that you don't even have to link your credit card. Like, you can play it for free. It's relaxing. It's fun. And it has some eye candy. You know, you got like Nikkei, you got some butt jiggle physics, and that's it. And it doesn't require hundreds of millions of dollars to make. It doesn't require hyper-realism. It doesn't require anything, right? My point isn't, well, you need to copy Nikkei. Like, my point is that you can still make a lot of money without needing for your games to cost $120. And they cost $120 because you have an army of gender activists and diversity consultants and other people that don't even play games or have absolutely nothing to do with gaming itself. And literally all it's required now, as we saw with Wukong, is a game that has soul, has some interesting gameplay, doesn't have eyesore characters, and you don't even need to encourage people to buy the latest 490 Ti from Nvidia. So yeah, no, I disagree with this thing that games should cost $70 to $80 that function properly. Like the very fact that you need to mention that, oh, you know, it would be nice if games function properly. Well, they don't function properly because you don't hire people properly. You hire people that are incompetent. You hire people that aren't passionate about games. You hire people that do not care about the product, and they look at games which are supposed to be an art form, they look at it as a product from an assembly line. And they're like, oh, does it have all the checkboxes? Does it do anything offensive? That okay, no, then ship it. But it's broke. It doesn't matter. We'll fix it later. And this is why you have like this problem. We'll see if anything changes. Personally, I do notice that Asia is becoming a lot stronger in their foothold in the gaming market, and they're having more and more titles. So it's unfortunate because I like the titles I grew up with. I personally enjoyed the games that I grew up with, and would love to see a new Mass Effect, would love to see a new Dragon Age, would love to see something that's actually good. But I don't think I will, at least not for the next 5 or 10 years, because that's kind of how big a cycle is for like new games in the quadruple A environment. Like, it takes for them to 5 or 10 years since they secure the funds to make a game up until they release it. So, yeah, we're just going to notice the changes in the future. And also, I don't think they can drop their ideology. Like, this diversity thing that they're stuck on, a lot of it is due to legal reasons in California and other states where these studios are being housed. So even if they were to know, it's like, all right, look, if you do not sexualize your female characters, you're not going to make a lot of sales. Right? Like people want to buy eye candy, they don't want to buy eyesores, right? Like you need to actually focus on what used to work. Like make the characters the same way Mass Effect used to. Make the characters the same way Dragon Age used to. Just stop pushing this eyesore. Just stop pushing this nonsense. They can't do it because again, they're legally obligated to do it. And not necessarily like to have it in the game, but they need to have a consultant that works on it, and the consultant would not work on it. They would not write their name on it unless it's done in a specific way. Like literally, some of these studios have to hire these censors due to various legislation, due to various way of accessing grants and funds and money. So it's not so easy for them to just revert to the way games used to be in 2016. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the comment section, and take care.